everybody. How are you guys doing? This is my husband, Tim.
Hi, everybody.
And he's here today to meet you guys. Say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Not you, them.
Oh. I do exactly what she tells me to do, okay? Sometimes.
Yeah, let's tell the truth. Sometimes. When it feels like it. But I just thought we'd come on and tell you guys a little bit about us and tell you how we met. And you guys can know our little love story.
There is a story.
There is a story. There is a method to this madness. Well, there's a story behind the method of the madness. So, we have been together 20 years now. In this September 10th, you guys, this is how you guys will always know. We got married the day before 9/11. I mean, hello. And we eloped. So we came home to the towers on fire and everything. And literally, we drove to Las Vegas and then came back. And then we were like, you know, we literally came back the same day. And then we woke up and it was like, wow. So, well, we won't ever forget our wedding date. My husband, I was like, look, the Lord just like marked this because there's just no way he would ever forget that. There's just no way. So, he skated in that department. God was very merciful. Not that don't take that the wrong way because that sounds horrible when I think about it now. But, you know, my husband needed a big event. So, he's not the best at, you know.
Okay, moving on. Moving on.
So, but when I was a young fool, not serving the Lord at the time, I was just starting to come back to the Lord. I did this geographic for this guy who was a total loser, and he was a pathological liar. And I don't use that term lightly. He told me all these stories, and when I moved to Florida, we had met over the phone through our work. We had known each other for a long time through work, but the whole time the guy was just snowing me. And I, like a fool, moved for a guy that was just totally a liar. So, it was the shortest relationship in the history of Pamela Ebert. That's no lie. It was just a few months. I went there and moved back. And when I came back, I sold my car to move to Florida. I sold a bunch of possessions, a bunch of things. When I came back, I had no car, no job, all this. Well, it was kind of tough, and I moved back in with my mom at the time, and so my mom lived in this little community called Muah Townhomes, and my husband lived there with his father, who he was caring for, who had several strokes at the time. And so, I was pretty down and out, and I think I was not having a good time, and my mom was like, here's $10 to go to the Friday night social. Seriously, this is how sad it was. Yeah. Go to the Friday night social and get a couple drinks. They serve dollar drinks on Friday night, and all the neighbors come together and drink and shoot pool and stuff. And so I wasn't serving the Lord then. I don't drink now because I'm a Christian. So I get my sorry little depressed butt out and go down to the Friday night social. And this guy was working the bar. He was playing the bartender that night. And I remember I looked at him, and he had like the worst mullet in the history of mullets.
I didn't have a mullet.
I'm kidding.
It wasn't a mullet.
His hair was really long, and really long, and he put it in a ponytail. And I remember the first time I saw him, I thought, oh, that guy's trouble. And I was thinking, like, he's darn cute. Like, oh yeah, I want to get to know him. How sad. I'm not gonna lie either, because
one bad
God
thing to
knew.
another. It's like,
I mean, I just left this loser dude, but no, I met him, and he was like like the strong, silent type. Like he would just do these little one-liner jokes and stuff, and he was just really to himself, which made me like him even more. I'm not gonna lie. And then I found out he had a girlfriend, and I was like, oh, okay. And then
I wasn't serving the Lord either, by the way.
Neither of us were.
No.
And so every Friday night, he was just, now this is the truth, he was just stepping in that one night to help doing the bartender thing. But when I started coming, he started doing it every week. He started going like, oh, I'll be the bartender this week too, even though he had a girlfriend. But we didn't do anything wrong. We never did. We just liked each other, but we were totally... And so I was just getting into doing jewelry, one-of-a-kind pieces at that time, and so I needed somebody who could photograph my things to make a portfolio, and he did photography, and he told me that at the social, and he's like, I'd be glad to photograph your jewelry for you, and I was like, oh, like amazing, and so he did. He came over one day and took photographs, and that was the beginning of our friendship. We became friends, and we were really close friends for like a year. But I'm not gonna lie, I liked him the whole time, and he liked me, but he was with somebody, and I wasn't going to be that girl, and he wasn't going to be that guy. But we did hang out a lot, and we saw each other every single Friday night. And then I ended up getting this job in Whittier, which is where his job was, and in Santa Fe Springs, which is right on the border of Whittier, where I worked. Yeah. Well, I literally ended up working like a mile and a half from where he worked. And it was like, okay, God was working things out, and we didn't even know it. And so, is there anything you want to input?
No, she's doing quite well. So, no, I was in love with her. I mean, I knew it, but I couldn't do anything about it, so.
And then the girl that he was dating at the time, her mom had passed away, and so he didn't want to like leave her because she just lost her mom, and so we were good little kids and then finally one day, it had been a long time, we knew we had feelings for each other, and I told him, I said, look, I have feelings for you, and now we both know we have feelings for each other, so that makes it wrong. And I told him I will not be the other woman. I'm not that type of a girl, so either you break up with her, or I'm going to have to leave, and we're not going to be able to do this, because I knew I had feelings for him. And like, I'm not kidding, like literally he broke up with her like within minutes of us having that conversation.
Well, I had already planned to do that because
yeah.
I was in love with her, and she was the one, not the other one, and I knew that all along. And
I thought it too.
You know it when it's there.
You just know.
Yeah.
And even though in like the whole scheme of things, when I would sit back and see his life, he was doing drugs, and I had gotten off of drugs, and I had been free for let me think how many years at that time. Oh gosh, how many years? Like 10 years, I think.
Yeah.
Was it 10?
A long time before me.
Yeah, before him. I guess it was about 6 or 7 years. 6 years. And so I was like, look, I can't be involved with somebody who's doing the drugs I just got free from and have been free for many years. And so that didn't happen right away, but God still had a plan. And so we moved in together, which we weren't serving the Lord. We did it wrong. And then we had my son. And when Dylan was born, I rededicated my life immediately to the Lord. I was like, I can't stand it. I couldn't stand myself. I was like, I cannot live like this and be responsible for another life, because that's how serious I take raising my kids. I was like, I am responsible for this little small fry's life now, and I am going to serve the Lord. And he resisted for quite a while. He really was stubborn for quite a while and fought it. But everybody's walk is different. And I was like literally, but I told him immediately, I was like, all right, I've rededicated my life to the Lord. There's going to be no boom boom. I got set free from smoking, cussing, and drinking. Like the instant I rededicated my life to the Lord and made that decision, I said, I'm serving you wholeheartedly, Lord, and I am not going to go back this time. I am never leaving you again. And so I was immediately set free from all of it. And then I told him, I was like, we live together. And I asked the Lord, I said, am I supposed to move out? Because financially we couldn't do it, because I wasn't working. I had just quit my job to raise Dylan. And we were caring for his father, who had many strokes. He lived with us as well at the time. And so I asked the Lord, do you want me to move out? And the Lord said no. He said, you take the bedroom with the child and he will sleep in the living room. And that's what we did for a year on the couch.
Not a comfortable one, but on the couch.
We literally honored God, and with him as my witness, like he could lightning bolt me to the ground. We never faltered once. Right. We never made out. Like the most we would do was like a little peck and hold hands. And we were not going to let it go farther because we knew if we did, then we would fall. And we took this very serious because we were getting critiqued very seriously by so many people in our church. They're like,
just got tired of explaining
God would never tell you to stay. And I don't believe that, because God knew that we could do it, and he knew we would honor him because he knows the beginning from the end. And I believe for most people that you would have to separate, because if you're truly going to honor God, you can't slip up.
But that's all about you guys, not.
And
this
that's
is just
how
about
we see
us.
it, right? And so God knew that, first of all, that we would do it, and we did for over a year, people. Over a year. No sex, no making out, no feeling each other out, nothing.
Okay, honey.
Well, it's just the truth. Some people need to know the truth, and the reality is every form of any kind of interaction, we abstained from it all to honor God. And then when we got married, that night we consummated our marriage, and then we got pregnant with our daughter Savannah. And that to me was our gift for honoring him for that long, and for not sleeping up at all, not once. And so and let me tell you, people at our church were telling us, because we went to premarital counseling, they were like, don't get married. They were telling me behind his back, don't marry him. Don't get married to him. Don't marry him. It's never going to last. He'll never change. And this was the pastor's mother at the church. And I go, wait a minute.
This church was bad.
Well, I know. The church was pathetic. Yeah. But this is the story. And they're telling me he'll never change. And I go, wait a minute. You guys stand up there every week saying how Jesus can change your heart, but you're telling me not to marry this man because you're saying he won't change. And I'm like, which message are you preaching? And I literally called them out on it, and they were like they thought little old new baby Christian me was never going to get in their face. And I was like, you guys are hypocrites. Like, you're giving a contrary message. And so and let me tell you, I was wavering back and forth because of my husband's addiction to pornography and drugs about marrying him. And I was crying out to the Lord for months and months, begging God for him to set him free, and for him to lay it down, and for God to give me an answer. And I really felt like God never said leave, never said leave. And I was like really getting frustrated. And then these people are telling me, don't marry him, he's never going to change. But God knew what it was going to take for me. And he knows when someone tells me, being a hypocrite, don't do this, then I'll tell you what, you're going to make me fight for that even more. And God knew what was going to put that little fire under my rear end, so to speak, to believe in my man and to know that God put us together. And let me tell you, through the time that we've been together, we've had confirmation after confirmation after confirmation after confirmation after confirmation of every single church we've ever been to and even visited. People are like, you two, it's God. This was God. And we were like, we know. Like, we knew, but no one else knew. And we went through our family doing bets on us. Like, we give them 8 months. We give them a year. Like,
I'm sure you guys
us.
don't have that with your family,
oh,
right?
I know,
you don't have any people, hedging on you guys, or you don't have that happening, right?
Everybody's got perfect families, yeah. Okay. Really.
Everybody's got a tree and nuts.
And let me tell you, so now this year, we will have been married 17 years.
Yeah.
17 years this year. We're
Yeah.
a year behind our son, so that's how we'll always be able to remember. My son Dylan turns 18 in 4 days, and then in September will be our 17th anniversary. And so in your face, all you people who cursed us,
Whatever, wherever
and
you are, it doesn't matter.
that's right. But the reality
better
is
place.
God is merciful, and an undeserved curse will not come to rest on its intended victim. So there.
Here's a good thing too. I mean, since we rededicated our lives back to the Lord, and we haven't turned around. I haven't turned back to any drugs, pornography,
Me
anything.
neither.
Alcohol, cigarettes, the whole 9 yards.
Nothing ever.
Nothing.
Not once.
So, and then on top of that,
And
with our children,
yes.
what we decided to do, since we had such a lousy family situation, you know, our families were they're alcoholics, drug addicts. It was all bad.
bad.
Nothing good about it. We decided that we were going to change that
In our family tree, from us on, we were like the
generation.
buck stops here
Right.
with us. We're going to be the ones that change it,
Right.
at least from our kids forward.
Our kids.
We were going to be the ones that said, in the Ebert family and in the Russo family name, the buck is stopping here. We're not going to pass it forward.
Right.
And my father died an alcoholic, and his father died an alcoholic. And we were like, we are not going to be those people. We're not.
And his father did. My dad's dad did. And his mom did. It's just sad. So, but none of that's going to happen with our kids, and God's honoring that. And God will honor
Yes, He is.
all that you put forth in His name, and you glorify Him. Just as long as you glorify Him and not yourself, because it's not about us.
That's right.
It's about what we do for Him to show His faithfulness to us. So
Yeah, and our choices aren't to puff us up.
No,
we're not
it's
doing this to be
not.
like we're all amazing, because
No,
we're
we're
not.
not.
We're jacked up just like you are, people. We are. We have
yeah.
to work through our salvation every day.
Every
day.
Every day.
And we are far from perfect. And let me tell you, I'm not going to sit here and tell you for 17 years this has been rose-colored glasses. No, I've wanted to. And He's wanted to. Me. And we've wanted to sock it up a couple times, and we've wanted to leave, but we don't. And the reality is we take that very seriously too, because we know that God hates divorce. And as hard as it may be at times, every single marriage, if anybody knows, if you've been married for any amount of time, it is not easy. You have to lay down your will, and you have to do what God instructs you in the Word, and be like, I have to honor my husband. Even when I disagree with his decisions, I have to honor him as head of my household. And then I have to trust that in spite, even though if I know he's making a wrong decision, me honoring him causes God's blessing to come and His mercy to come on that bad decision. And let me tell you, we've had to lean on that mercy many, many times, but every time He'll tell you, I stand by His decisions, and I honor His decisions, whether I agree with it or not. But I'll let Him know. I'm not going to lie.
No, she does.
I'll tell him
And
straight
she's
up. I think you're messing up.
Straight up, straight that way, straight this way.
That's right.
All around.
I don't mince words, and you guys know that. I'm pretty darn straightforward, and I won't change that about me, because it's the way God made me.
But you have to figure one thing: if it was easy,
Everybody
would be doing it,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't need God for anything, basically, because you'd be getting everything that you needed. So, knowing that,
Christianity is hard.
yeah, if you just
Every
can't have
day.
it your way, you have to have it God's way.
That's
And
right.
Not
Laying
part
down,
of it, all of it.
yes, your will every day to live a life that honors Him to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
I am not perfect. I fall short almost daily. And if someone wants to critique that and go, oh, well, then you don't have it all together, then the reality is you're not judging your own heart enough, because every single day we will sin in our thought life. We will sin in some way that we are not paying attention to, and we have to realize that every day we have to go, Lord, forgive me for what I have done in this day, and help me to do better tomorrow. And I do that every day, and I'm not perfect.
Well,
I'm
that's why
far.
we're talking to you here, basically, to let you know that you have to live a life that is acceptable to God. And that life is, there's no gray areas.
Yeah.
You can't walk halfway in and halfway out. And the word's really stern about that. And if you're lukewarm, I'll spew you out of my mouth. And when you hear something like that, it's like, wow, which one, where am I? is it okay to drink? Is it okay to look at women? Is it okay to do this? No, it's
pornography,
neither of it. None
everything,
of it is.
yeah.
You have to make a decision, and God will honor that and help you. It's not easy. That's where the relationship comes in.
That's right.
You have to have a
And
relationship with your Lord Jesus, and without that, you're just going to fall short. You're not going to make it.
And that's where we fall short, is every single time we are not really leaning on the Lord or communicating with Him enough is where any of us are going to start to go back to our flesh and the way we want, our way instead of His way. And then we make the choices and we go, oh, bless it, God bless it. And He's like, that wasn't my plan, sweetie pie.
Yeah, and basically He's not gonna bless a mess.
But
He'll love you.
Yes, He will. He'll never stop loving you, no matter what your sin is. There isn't anybody on here who is a worse sinner than me, or a worse sinner than him, or you're worse than us. Sin is sin in God's eyes, and we just want you guys to know a little bit about us, but we want you to know the truth and just the way we are. And we don't judge anybody here. That's not what we're about.
Nope.
You can do whatever you want. I'm going to love you. I'm going to accept you. I'm going to treat you just as if I would treat you as if you were my brother or sister in the Lord, because you're a human being and I love you. And that won't ever change. I don't care if you don't believe in God. That won't change. That's not the type of person, and that's not the type of Christians we are. And we never will be, in Jesus' name. But just know that because we believe what we believe, we're not judging you for what you believe either. And we want you to know that you're welcome here no matter what it is, and we're going to love you. But just don't judge us for what we believe either, because we're going to share the Lord and we're going to share the Word, and because it's just who we are. Just like you guys share on your channels or your thing in your life, who you are.
Yeah.
But of course, we're going to hope that you'll serve the Lord one day, and we're going to be praying for you every day. But,
Yeah.
But I just wanted you guys to meet this guy, because I've done videos with my son, I've done videos with my daughter, and today I was like, okay, I've got to do a video with my husband so everybody can meet my man.
Well,
This is him. This is the guy. Behind the face and the makeup and all. He's the guy.
I'm the guy.
He's the guy. This is the guy.
I'm it.
He's it. Forever.
For her.
For me.
Yeah.
For me, no one else.
That's right.
Just me. Mine. But thank you guys for watching today. We love you, and we pray that God keeps you safe in this crazy, crazy world we live in. And we do this. Mwah.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.